I'm the one, I worked to put that deal together for Brady and Gronk to come to the Raiders. And it was almost a done deal. And at the last minute, Gruden blew the deal up and said that he didn't want him. And all hell broke loose, man. It was crazy. And Brady was already looking at houses, and it wasn't being said yet that Gronk was coming.
So it turns out that Brady was not talking about Ryan Tannehill then, right?
I guess that's what it turns out.
Is that the way you took that?
That's exactly how I took that. So somebody said, I don't know where that was from. I think it's from tonight.
Yeah, there's a fight going on tonight. I think on ESPN Plus. I think on ESPN Plus, maybe they did the
I think it's a pay-per-view, and then the prelims are on ESPN, is what Jason just said on the stream.
And they did like a Manning cast with Gronkowski family. Was that his whole family?
I don't know. Let me. You want me to put this up again? You want to listen to that one more time?
Yeah, let me listen to it.
I'm the one. I worked to put that deal together for Brady and Gronk to come to the Raiders, and it was almost a done deal. And at the last minute, Gruden blew the deal up and said that he didn't want him. And all hell broke loose, man. It was crazy. And Brady was already looking at houses, and it wasn't being said yet that Gronk was coming.
Yeah, so it looks like, I think it's with the Gronks, the Gronkowski family.
I counted. I think he's got 4 brothers. So it was Gronk, the white pants, and the brothers all, I don't know who the guys on the outside.
Well, I think it's brothers and dad. I think so. And then Michael Eaves, it looks like, from ESPN, anchoring it. Yeah. I guess there was some comment like maybe Gronk had said something first about it, and then Dana revealed the whole thing. Interesting that Dana was the GM of the.
Well, here's the thing with the Raiders. Not trying to take shots, because I kind of think they got a good thing going. They do need a lot of other people to broker shit for them. There's not like, Howie Roseman's never like, this billionaire in Philly told me, and he did this and then that. It's just like, no, I did it. That's my job. Like, what? What's going on here, guys?
Was Dana going to get him some ownership in the Raiders? Because remember, Tom wanted ownership in the Dolphins. Was Dana?
Oh, you're saying like working with Mark?
Well, no. I'm saying is there? Vegas did a lot for the Raiders, so Vegas is kind of holding. It feels like to some degree they're holding the pink slip a little bit. Like, was there some leverage there that Dana has to chop off a chunk of the team and distribute it? I say that out loud. I don't know if that totally makes sense now that I say it out loud.
I think Dana's a Boston guy. Is boys with Brady. Tom, I think one thing looking back, Tom didn't have that many options. Like, that's the craziest part about Tom's, the one time he was ever a free agent. Peyton Manning coming off quadruple neck surgery. No one knew if he could throw. Had like 7 teams flying all over the place. Tennessee, Harbaugh, going to Duke, Welker. Like, remember all that?
Yeah, I do.
Brady's a fucking free agent in the peak of his powers. He kind of had a weird last month, but the body of work for the previous 4 years was incredible. Super Bowl MVPs, and it was like nobody wanted him. Even Tennessee went with Tannehill.
Yeah.
He was talking about Derek Carr the whole time. The entire time.
Wow. Pretty, I wonder, was Gruden involved at all, or did Dana put the whole deal together? Was Dana going to pay Tom some, I don't know. There was going to be some money.
My guess is it's all getting done through Mark Davis. Mark comes through him, and maybe John's just adamant, I don't want to do this. And Mark just leaned with his head coaches, right? Like, I'm not going to go over his head and force. Like, if Dana had been in, let's say Dana wasn't a Vegas guy, but a Miami guy, and done that with the Dolphins, whoever the GM and coach of the Dolphins would have had to do whatever Stephen Ross wanted to do. I will give Mark Davis credit on this. Now, we could argue, should he have given John Gruden all the juice? Probably not. And Josh McDaniels probably has similar juice. He does, whoever is his coach or his decision maker, that guy does get to make the final decisions.
Yeah. Clearly he understood. I mean, that was going into the 20 season, the amount of hype that was going to create for the organization in Vegas. And they have a ton of hype. Would have been
that was 10x what they had.
Yeah. So that would have been wild. But I don't fault Mark. He gave John Gruden a 10-year, $100 million contract. You don't give him that contract and then force him to do things he doesn't want to do. But wow,
I think it worked out for
He was
Tom.
looking for a house. I
I
agree.
I do think the Tom situation. I mean, John would have got fired. Still, it would have been a disaster.
John might have been tougher for him to work with than Arians because Arians gave, Byron Leftwich had responsibility.
Yeah,
He was clearly Arians even less hands-on than Gruden would have been.
but John was the offensive
That's
coordinator.
what I'm saying. Gruden would have been way more hands-on than Bruce was, and ultimately Bruce drove Tom nuts.
I don't think it would have worked at all. I think it would have been a disaster. I'm with you. Best thing that Mark Davis did was allow John Gruden to say no on. I think it just worked out for football, the NFL.
Larry says at the same time there were reports about the Pats wanting to trade for Carr.
Yeah, well, they needed a quarterback. Remember?
So would you have done like some?
Would they have just given their?
It wouldn't even have to be a sign, and it wouldn't have to It could have been two separate deals, right?
Tom was a free agent.
Right. I'm saying I just went sign and trade in my head, but that's not how it works. So they would have done a separate deal with Derek, which would have been great for Derek too. It wouldn't have been bad for Derek. He would have been playing for Josh McDaniels.
They went 7-9. So maybe that is what people are saying, that they were really interested when they thought he might go to Brady. The Patriots, I think their pick was like 22 that year. I mean, are we sure they don't just trade their first round pick to get Derek Carr?
If you just signed Tom Brady, you shell out picks. You are so happy. You will give away first rounders.
No. Well, I'm saying, would the Patriots have given up their first round pick
in a heartbeat? And I would have said good. I would have said good trade.
Yeah, they didn't have a quarterback. Well, if Derek would, if Josh McDaniels or John Gruden have been willing to trade Derek the last 24 months, he would go for more than a first round.
Yeah,
pick.
they might have gotten more.
Like a 1 that year and then a 2 next year. So immediate starting quarterback's like top 12 guy. Guy never hits the market. Kirk Cousins did one time. He got like $90 million immediately. And then a year later, he got 60 more.
Well, if you'd said 2 1s, I think easy with hindsight now, but that would have been, they drafted a quarterback with one of their ones who'd they use their 2020 first round pick on.
It's a good question. I don't remember. I guess the following year was Mac. And then I think they traded up and got Mac's teammate, that the D tackle Brazemore, I think his name is. He's a pretty good player too. Patriots would have been bounced in the first round
that year.
Wonder what they did.
Did they trade back because they took the safety from Lenore Ryan at 37, and then they had pick 60. They wouldn't have had pick 37, so they must have traded out of the first round.
Yeah. And they had no quarterback that year, right? It was just Cam and Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, they would have easily done that deal.